Alright, fishing freaks, it is story time again. And if you missed why I'm doing these, I will link to the other video that I did about the high school era and also the update about the channel so you guys can get caught up. Got my hot steamy liquid here, so we're good to go. Now I did get some comments about this holster thing that Stephanie got me. It's got my initials in it. It's pretty cool. This is actually made by Holt Leather Company. I believe they're out of Huntsville, Alabama, where I used to live, actually. And they had a cool story. I looked them up after she gave me this. It's neither here nor there. They're not a sponsor of this this channel. I thought it was a cool item, but I'm sniffing it with my drink here, and just remind me of that. Enough with the leather talks. Let's get into college. So after I did my rehab and my recovery for my back injury, which took around a year to really get back in the swing of things where I could rotate and, you know, run around, swing a bat, throw a baseball 100%. It took a while. I ended up going to a junior college that was about an hour and a half away from my hometown. And I was still really in tune with fishing. Like I carried my little aluminum boat over there, and I started doing you know, Wednesday night or Thursday night tournaments at local lakes. I can't remember exactly what night it was. And there was no college fishing, big time college fishing organizations at the time. My dad, knowing how interested I was, for Christmas, he got me a whole season of entry fees for the BFL as a co-angler, which isn't a very expensive tournament trail, but it's a great way to like get out there and kind of learn. FLW owns the trail. You know, it's kind of where a lot of people start out or used to start out tournament fishing. Kind of got to learn through fishing with other anglers, and even made my first check in that series in a bass, in a, you know, a fully organized bass tournament. I think I had like a 4-pounder or something on Sam Rayburn Lake, and I won something for that. So I'm playing ball and I'm doing my thing, and I'm, you know, fishing everywhere I can, anytime I can. Of course, I'm playing junior college baseball, so that involves a lot of travel and practice and, you know, a lot of time, but I'm still just obsessed with fishing. And after my first year, you know, I got a little experience under my belt, and I'm kind of thinking about where I want to go off to a 4-year school. Do I still want to compete in these BFLs, or take the next step, or whatever I want to do? At the time, I wasn't on any scholarship, and I was working towards getting a scholarship for the next year. That was like a goal. I was like, you know, I want to recover from my injury and, you know, just do well enough where I could get a junior college scholarship. Just a little, you know, feather in the cap there. We had a lot of good pitchers that came in that second year, you know, and there was this one guy, Jake Arrieta. You may have heard of him. You know, he kind of came in there and he did all right. And anyway, we had some pretty good people that came onto the team and kind of bumped some scholarships out of the way for me. Let's just put it that way. So then I'm like, man, coach, you know, honestly, I think I can make more money fishing. I'm not sure how well he took that, but in my mind, I was like, you know what? Fishing is everything to me. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to make money at it. I've won me a BFL check. I got like a couple $100 for that. Let's go. So I decided to leave the team so I could go fish more BFL events and go to the next step in tournament fishing. And I'm trying to figure out, where do I want to go to a 4-year college? And I'm calling up my buddies. I had a buddy that was going to Texas A&M at the time, and he was like, man, I love it down here. It's great. You'd love it, you know. And we have a bass fishing team. And I was like, what? A bass fishing team? Like a team where you go compete? All right, I'm going to go check this thing out. If it all looks good, no questions, I'm going there. Some kind of weird tea Stephanie's got me drinking. It's supposed to like sweat out the cookie toxins that I've been eating over the holidays. I decided to take a little road trip down to Texas A&M. And I'm so interested in fishing that I'm just decided I'm gonna study fish. So I'm seeking out the biology department, you know, the ecology department, wildlife and fisheries, fisheries ecology, and I get a hold of some people, and the director invites me down to come visit. I'm like, absolutely, I want to come check this out, see what this whole department's all about. So I go down there, I meet him, he's super nice, and I go into his office to have a little sit down and just talk about, you know, what direction I want to go. I want to fish, and that was like my only goal at the time. I thought this was kind of awkward to go sit down with the professor and be like, hey, look, man, I kind of want to fish like for a living, you know, you got anything like that? So I go into his office, I sit down, and I start looking around, and there's all these big mounted largemouth bass all over the place. Like he's got like 2 10s over here, he's got like an 11 right here and an 8 right here. And I'm going, this is a good sign. This is like meant to be right here. And then I started explaining myself, and I'm like, you know, look, I played baseball, and I'm looking for a 4-year school, and I'm really interested in learning the science behind fish and what makes them tick, and I want to be a professional bass fisherman. Can we do something like that? And they say, well, absolutely, yes. We've actually had a couple of professional bass anglers that have come out of the school, and they're doing this right now. And you know, if you want to learn about all of this, we can certainly do that. And if you want to be a biologist, you'll be good to go after you get your degree. I hear that and I'm like, yes, you are singing my song right now. So the next thing I did was go meet up with my friend to meet some of the Aggie anglers. That's what the Aggie fishing team, that's what we call ourselves. So I go down there and I meet some of the Aggie anglers, and I'm just blown away by there's actual competition, and we're competing against other schools, and it's not just here. And you know, these guys are good and they have boats, and I'm like, whoa, this is next level. This is absolutely what I have to do. Let's go. It also didn't hurt that there's like super fine hot Southern belles walking around campus, and you know, everybody's driving like trucks and listening to country music, and I'm just like, this is my second home right here. This is heaven. So I transfer to A&M. I get accepted. I'm all pumped. I go down there. I'm like, let's get this school thing going. But hey, what's the tournament schedule look like? So I'm a junior, and now I'm fishing in these competitions within the club. They've got these collegiate tournaments now. They had the first ever. It was called the Boat US Collegiate National Championship, and that was the year I was transferring in. So they already had it, and I'm like, this is like the ultimate mega goal in bass fishing for a college student right now. So I fished my first year, and I fished through the club, and we had 8 tournaments, and I did pretty well. I won a couple of tournaments, and I was able to build up enough points within the club to be able to, you know, to have that top ranking, to be able to go fish in this Collegiate National Championship event. So we're paired up in teams. We compete individually within the club, and then we pair up into teams to go off to this event. And I started looking into it, and it's gonna be on Lake Louisville, which is probably my least favorite lake ever, and I grew up right next to it. So I'm dreading having to go there with my partner. His name was Trevor. Me and Trevor were having to go there, and he's like, man, you gotta have like all the good spots, right? And I'm like, no, not really, man, because I really hate this lake, and I never really catch bass out of it. It's kind of a curse. I don't know how to catch them. So the tournament is scheduled to be 3 days long. I forget how many practice days we had. We either had 1 or 2. The worst practice ever. Like, we go up there and we're practicing, and everyone's coming in, and it's just like, this place is terrible. You know, how can we even catch 5 keepers? Everyone's asking me questions like, dude, you're from here, man. Like, where's the big ones at? Like, man, I don't know. I am having trouble. And honestly, I don't even want to really tell you because it's kind of embarrassing. So in the last hours of this practicing session, I'm like, man, I just got this feeling the spot we haven't been to yet. Let's go over there and let's just check it out. We don't see anything, or nothing feels right. Let's just go in and then we'll just get a game plan. We'll do something. We'll get a little milk run, whatever. So we roll over to this spot and put the trolling motor down, flip out there, and get a bite. Like immediately. At the same time, Trevor's saying to me, I got one on too. And there's boats around and we're like, all right, let's shake these things off. Let's just shake them off. So we shake them off right there and we're like, this is the best thing we have to go on. This is all we got. We'd had this flooded situation in the water. So the water was fluctuating up and down. And the thing that we found was some just vertical cover that these fish felt comfortable hanging around. So we go out the first morning of the tournament. We launched out of there, nervous, hearts pumping. There's TV cameras walking around, and this thing's gonna be on like NBC Sports and Fox, and we go up to that spot and they're just loaded there. Like, we cannot miss. They're just biting. We get in the boat. I mean, probably within 2 hours we had a solid sack, and then we had to start strategizing because it's a 3-day tournament. What do we do? Do we sack them up big time right here on the first day, or do we kind of save? And we decided to save our fish. So we went out of our honey hole and we fished other areas to try to upgrade and just not risk giving that area a beating, basically. So we go in after the first day, and we're not at the top, but we're not at the bottom. We're just kind of in that top quarter. We're doing all right. Next day we go out, same thing. Go to our spot. They're not quite as on, but they're still there. So it took us like 3 hours to get them. We came in and we had about the same amount of weight, and that really helped us. So that boosted us into some of the top teams going into the third and final day. That third and final day, they had cut it down to, I can't exactly remember. It was either the top 10 or they had cut most of the field away. And now everyone had a camera on them, basically the whole day. And, we were thinking, is this spot gonna still have fish on it? We don't know, but we gotta try. And we hammer it. We don't leave anything on the table, pick apart every little stick, stone, leaf in the water, everything. And we could only come up with like 7 pounds. It was something ridiculous. We weren't feeling good about it at all. And people start weighing in, and I've just got like this horrible look on my face, like, oh, we were this close, man. We were this close. And people start coming up, and they're not beating us, and they're not beating us, and they're not beating us. And next thing I know, I'm like, dude, we're about to win this thing with 7 pounds. This is crazy. So the final team weighed in, and we won the thing. The Collegiate National Champions. It was surreal experience. Cameras everywhere, journalists and people coming up to us. The very first person to shake my hand was Mr. Ronnie Parker from Lake Fork Trophy Lures. That's how I first met him. The whole experience of it was really cool, really nice. And we got some nice scholarship money on top of that. I think it was 14 grand at the time. So I paid for the rest of my college with that check right there. So the next year, my partner that I fished with, he graduated, and I fished with another partner that we fished really good together. And we just had this like great chemistry. We go to the same lake. I think it's a different time of year. We go out and pre-fish, and we have a great pre-fish. We figure out a great pattern. We know exactly what we're gonna do. Everything is going great. It's a 3-day tournament. First couple of days, we are just kind of plugging along, and we're in that top tier, and we got a kicker each day. And then we go into the third and final day, we make the cut again, we go in, and we have the best day that we've ever had out there. We were just plugging them left and right. I had that feeling like this is the day. It's meant to be. We're gonna win this thing back to back. And we're weighing in there, and we get to the last boat to come in, and it's Arkansas coming in. They have a sack, and they beat us. So we only got second place. And I learned a lesson that day to tone down your cockiness, because right when you think you got them, somebody else is always gonna have a sack. So at the time, the tournament organization called the Professional Anglers Association, they were inviting winners of these collegiate national championships to come and fish their series, and they were giving them a berth into the series to come fish. You had to be either an elite series angler or an FLW angler at the time to qualify, or if you were one of these top winners of these tournaments at the collegiate level, they would let you in and fish too. So that is how I got into professional tournament fishing right out of college. So I had gone to A&M to learn about fish, get my degree, and then hopefully be a professional tournament angler, and everything is just coming together at this point. I got a berth into the PAA where I can start fishing these pro tournaments. Some big college tournament wins under my belt. You know, I've got a few sponsors now, you know, as far as like tackle and baits and things like that. I'm like, now I'm just ready to get out and hit the road and get this thing going. There's one little hiccup though that comes with fishing big time tournaments, doing any kind of big tournament, and that is cash flow to enter the tournaments. They are muy expensive. I think at the time these were $1,500 to $2,500 to enter. I'm a college kid, I don't have money. That is the next video we're going to go into. How I decided to make a living. How did I earn my money to fish at that level and survive? Or did I? Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the stories. If you want to go check out the other one from high school days, you can go click that here or in the description. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the like button. You guys have been liking the crap out of these videos lately. Keep on doing that, man. That's extra kudos. Love it. I'm excited to share these stories with you to give this background context. So I got a few more to go, and we'll get back out on the water. So I'll catch you guys later.